Before we begin, I want to let you know that this and the next opening feature will be heavy on spoilers, so if you want to read the stories for yourself, I recommend that you go directly to the LP, and I'll include a timestamp in the description below so you can do just that. And while I don't want you guys to think of this as a shameless plug because I get nothing from it, if you are interested in reading any of these stories or just any Batman story in general, I recommend Comixology Unlimited, which offers 20,000 DC comics for a subscription of about $10 a month. It's an excellent value if you're a comic fan who wants to get a bang for their buck. When we left off, it was the 80s, and the Batman franchise was facing a crisis. Comic book fans were adults, and up to the late 70s, the writers and artists were still creating comic stories for children instead, not recognizing that the audience that grew up with their stories had grown up, and wanted their heroes to do the same. Sales were declining, and the title was on the verge of cancellation. But in 1988, a major storyline centered around the Joker was promising to change all that. In 1988, artist Brian Bolland was looking for a new project, and to help him decide, asked himself 3 questions. What villain did he want to draw? What hero did he want to draw? And what writer did he want to work with? Having recently seen The Man Who Laughs, Bolland was inspired to draw a new saga around the Joker and Batman, and tapped writer Alan Moore as the best man for the job. Being on the outs with DC since finishing Watchmen, Moore agreed to work on the project as a personal favor, and the two men created one of the most iconic Batman stories ever told, The Killing Joke. In the story, the Joker reveals his origin as an unnamed chemical engineer who quits his job to become a comedian, but struggles to keep an audience. Desperate to support his pregnant wife, he agrees to guide a pair of criminals through his old chemical plant so that they can rob it. But on the day of the heist, his wife dies from a household accident, and grief-stricken, he tries to withdraw from the job. At gunpoint, he's forced to continue under the guise of the infamous Red Hood, the persona the thieves give to their inside man so that there is an illusion of a leader, and a shootout with the guards ensues, killing the 2 criminals. The man tries to run, but is confronted by Batman and knocked into a vat of chemicals, which bleach his skin white, stain his lips red, and turns his hair a horrific green. The accident, the mutilation, and the loss of his wife drive the man insane, and gives birth to the Joker. In the present day, Batman goes to Arkham Asylum to try to end the feud between himself and the Joker, only to realize that the Joker has escaped Arkham once again. And in the meantime, the Joker sets out to prove that anyone can become just like him with one very bad day, and sets his sights on Jim Gordon to prove just that. Posing as a photographer, Joker finds Barbara Gordon's apartment and shoots her through the stomach. While she survives, the bullet passes through her spine and paralyzes her from the waist down, accidentally ending her career as Batgirl. Kidnapping Gordon, Joker traps him in a rundown amusement park, the same one he had worked at as a comedian, and shows him pictures of Barbara while having him run a death gauntlet, and to further the mental torture, it's implied that the Joker keeps Gordon dosed with LSD, although this is never explicitly stated. Batman struggles to find the Joker until sent tickets to the amusement park, where he arrives to find Gordon wounded and traumatized by the torture, but still in command of his mind and his morals, telling Batman to take Joker by the book to prove that their system of justice is correct. Batman does just that and subdues the Joker, informing him that Gordon survived the torture and Joker had failed to prove his point. Afraid that one day the two will enter a death match and kill each other, Batman reaches out once again to the Joker, offering to try to help the Joker recover from his trauma and get him treatment. But Joker declines in a sober moment of self-awareness, stating that it is too late for that. Far, far too late. After some reflection, the Joker says that his situation reminds him of a joke, and he begins to tell Batman about 2 inmates escaping a prison. One makes it across a narrow plank over a long gap, but the second is scared and refuses to cross. The first tells him that he'll shine a light as a guide, but the second asks, "Are you crazy? You'll just turn it off when I get halfway." Batman and Joker laugh together at the punchline, but the ending is left ambiguous and has been hotly debated between comic fans ever since. In one view, The ending shows a rare moment of respect and camaraderie between the Joker and Batman. But a much darker view of the Joker's laugh cutting off abruptly theorizes that the Batman ends up frustrated and snaps Joker's neck, hence the title, The Killing Joke. The entire comic is based on the Joker showing an almost compulsive need to corrupt, really believing that everyone is just like him. This was the central story of The Dark Knight, where Joker was portrayed by the late great Heath Ledger, and is a reoccurring theme for the Joker from this point forward. We've even seen that earlier in Arkham Asylum, and soon you'll see how the entire Arkham series is a constant drive to force Batman to give up his code. Spoilers, in the Arkham universe, Batman is Batman, and he manages to resist and overcome every plot Joker lays out, proving over and over that the Joker has no ability to corrupt him. But next time, we'll look at a universe where the Joker succeeds. See you guys then. Hey guys, it's Jag. Welcome back to the arcade. Let's get back to just another game, Batman Arkham Asylum. Last time we took down Ivy, and now we only have one target left. The source of all those happy smiley face fireworks over there. We need to take out the Joker. He's the last criminal left at large. But before we do that, we need to take out all of these remaining Riddler challenges. There aren't many that we've left behind. Looks like we've left about 28, I think, if my math doesn't fail me. So ideally, I would love to get all of these in 1.5 episodes, like this episode and half of the next one. If that's not possible, then we may have to have a third or another episode that I wasn't planning on after all, and I'm thinking that might be the case just because of the travel time that's going to be involved. But I think we're going to start by going back to, where is it? Watch me, I've just been on it. Yeah, I think we're going to go back to the Botanical Gardens, and if you look at the map, it's going to be a little bit of a travel distance, especially since I want to go for this chamber first and work my way out. So while I travel in there, why don't we go ahead and have that bio for Poison Ivy that I planned in the last episode, and we'll just have that during my travel time now. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes.
They can bury me in the ground as deep as they like, but I'll grow back. We always grow back, don't we, baby?
Pamela Lillian Isley was a botanist who led a double life as the eco-terrorist Poison Ivy, and unlike most of Batman's foes, had little interest in money, power, or Gotham itself. Instead, she was obsessed with preserving plant life and often planned her crimes around revenge against those who threatened rare or exotic plants. The animated series differed slightly on her backstory. While in the comics, she gained her powers from the experiments that turned her into a plant-human hybrid. In the cartoon, she was simply employed with a cosmetics firm as a researcher in charge of developing new fragrances. While her plant-based abilities were often hinted at, they were usually explained with her own talent and genius instead of chemicals produced by her body. Her first encounter with Batman came about with a mutual acquaintance, Harvey Dent. Before the accident that would turn him into Two-Face, Dent was Gotham's DA and prosecuted the criminals that Batman apprehended in the court of law. When Dent broke ground on Stonegate Prison, Isley held him responsible for the near extinction of a rare rose that grew in the area and used her charm and pheromones to court and then poison him, sending him into a coma. Being a friend of Dent, Batman tracked her down and was nearly overcome by her pheromones and plant control until he forced her to surrender and turn over the antidote by threatening the rose that she had saved from Stonegate's construction. After Harley was kicked out of the Joker gang, she and Ivy found each other when targeting the Gotham Museum on the same night, and despite their seemingly opposite personalities, the pair got along like wildfire. Harley began to thrive and gain confidence in an environment that was supportive instead of abusive, and Ivy appreciated Harley's sense of humor and inventiveness. only really finding fault with Harley still being obsessed over the Joker. Calling themselves the Queens of Crime, even Batman struggled to stop their crime spree, never able to apprehend both of the women until the Joker destroyed Ivy and Harley's home, and they were caught by Renee Montoya, a detective with the Gotham Police. Remember in Ivy's biotapes how she entranced a doctor named Steven? This was a direct reference to the animated series in which Ivy seduces a psychiatrist named Stephen Carlyle into releasing, marrying, and starting a family with her. But unfortunately for Stephen, Ivy locked the man in an underground laboratory and used plants to create clones to serve as her husband and children. The clones aged at an accelerated rate. While the children would eventually grow into Carlyle as an adult, the end of their life cycle caused them to mutate into horrific plant monsters that Ivy would send to commit her crimes before they would die and decompose, creating the perpetual need for fresh clones of the captive man. After capturing her, Batman finds out that the Ivy he was pursuing was herself a clone of the original, while the real Ivy escapes Gotham and seems to consider what might have been. Poison Ivy was voiced by Diane Pershing and appeared in 12 episodes of the animated series. Alright, I had a little bit of recording difficulty, so I hope this comes out okay and my calculations for the time that I needed aren't too messed up. Ideally, you won't notice anything, but now that we're in place, we can pull down these walls here. We couldn't do this without getting the Ultra Bat Claw, but there are two secrets here. We have the Arkham Chronicle right over here, and we have a trophy in the other alcove. So let's go ahead and get the Arkham Chronicle, because I want to find out more about this sick bastard.
He watched as I entered the cell. He smiled as I showed him the knife. I told him how I will use it, how I will cleanse this city. And then, terror. I was paralyzed. I struggled. I screamed, but I was silent. The monster looked at me, expressionless. He ran my blade slowly across my forehead. A smile cracked across his horrible porcelain face, and I heard the filth fall from his mouth. He laughed and called me that horrible name.
If you remember all the way back to the very beginning of this Let's Play, you might remember what that name is, and if you haven't figured out who we're talking about yet, that might give you a clue. We're going to be finding out who this is for real very shortly. But if you don't have your suspicions by now, I don't think you've been paying enough attention to the story that's been going on. But now that we've snagged those two secrets, we need to head back to the abandoned chamber. I believe there is another chronicle and another trophy. No, a riddle and a trophy. Okay. I do not remember this riddle, but that might explain why I could only think of one item that was left behind in that chamber. Because the other was a riddle. Okay, well this will be interesting. The trophy, I know exactly where it is. We couldn't get this one without the Ultra Bat Claw. Remember we saw that fake wall? It's behind that fake wall. We need to get back to the top of the abandoned chamber to get to it. So this will be fun. The riddle, I'm not sure where we're going to find that, to be perfectly honest. I might have to look around for that for a little bit. Alright, you can't use the grapple in here, that's why I hate these places.
This area is falling apart.
It's not safe to use the grapple, blah blah blah. Nobody cares, Batman, except for me. Build your equipment better. You had the Ultra Bat Claw. Clearly, if you had upgraded the grapple to have multiple anchor points as well, you would be able to distribute your weight, and you'd be able to use the grapple, right? That makes sense, doesn't it? To everyone, not just me? Alright. Okay, yeah. I remember how to get across now. So you still kind of have to use the line launcher, just it makes things easier. But you can't just walk straight up to that wall. Let's see, he says it makes things easier as... Okay. I'm gonna go to the top of the chamber first, because I think that's also where that riddle might be. Oh, the camera strikes again. You know, now that I've realized that you can get up here without the grapple, it kind of makes me mad. You can hear more conversation from Joker coming down this drain pipe as he's making his Titan formula, and it's actually kind of interesting, so I would recommend you guys come through and play it for yourself and try to get up there to that drain pipe to hear him, because you can actually hear him experimenting on his henchmen, and he drops the dead bodies down that waterway. I had completely forgotten that was a thing. Alright, I don't want to go this far. I want to screw things up. Hell, we might spend the entire 20 minutes in here, you never know. An entire episode because I can't climb properly and I'm on the wrong side of the room. These two trophies, man. These two trophies. Well, if I do end up using another episode to collect all the goodies, then I still will put out an opening feature on Monday, and I will just do the final feature in the final episode. I'm not gonna do the third one that I had planned. The more I thought about it, the more I realized I was kind of making some stretches instead of presenting things from a factual perspective, and I might come back to it when we do Arkham City, because it did deal with some interesting characters, but I think I'm going to skip it and we'll save it for later. They're interesting characters, but there were not a lot of appearances that they had, and I don't want to give away too much because that will probably spoil the last of the features that I do want to do. Alright. That's our fake wall right there. Once you pull down this wall, you can approach this from below, you can jump across, but I'm going to take the safe way. I'm going to screw this up. I'm going to screw this up. Okay. I thought I was going to screw it up. Alright. Can I get back across this way? That would be useful if I could. Nope. Cannot. Alright, which side do I want to go up? I do want to find that riddle before this episode is over. We have plenty of time, I know. But we also have a lot of areas to cover. And I'm starting to think that travel time might just eat up most of that. I don't want to cut away if I don't have to, because I feel that showing the traveling is as important as doing it, as discovering the riddles. So, because you're gonna need to know exactly how to get to them. So I don't want to just cut away and go like, hey, here's the riddle, good luck getting up here. Alright, let's turn on detective mode. I have my suspicions of where it could be. I know I'm going the opposite way that I need to. I think it might be over here. Do I see something glowing? Is it just a light? Just a light. Okay. Aha, I was right. Cool. And we need to line it up with this. So we could have solved this one a while ago. That good enough?
What?
Yeah.
You're nearly done. Are you cheating? Looking them up on the internet? Tell me.
Maybe? I am certainly helping somebody look them up on the internet. That's for damn sure. But we're done with the with a greenhouse now. By the way, you can talk to these
I
guards.
had a dream I was fighting with you.
You were. And you were doing it badly.
Wasn't I supposed to be doing something?
Yep, they're out of their boob trance, I guess, is the best way to put it. Not really. Okay, this way, yes. Their boob-induced hypnosis. That's what I was trying to go for. Have you guys, speaking of boobs, have you guys ever seen the anime Keijo? Or Kaijo? It's based on a manga series where women battle in a martial arts just using their boobs and their butt. And I really, really think it's stupid. But it's the kind of stupid that's so good because they make fun of themselves for being stupid. So it's actually really funny. Even if the premise sounds like it's just fan service, and believe me, it is. The anime and the manga are like really funny. They've got a good sense of humor. It's worth the read, and it's actually got a pretty decent plot. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it is pretty good. Alright, I need to dump down here, come back around. Really, really hope... Batman, let go. Really, really hope I didn't mess up my calculations, because I had a recording issue when I was coming in this area, and I was able to splice it together, probably, where you guys won't notice, but it might throw off my calculations. Whatever. Okay, next place that we want to take on, I think, is the mansion. And yes, all of Ivy's big plants have dried up and withered, so you have, other than some lunatics, you might have seen me fight a couple of those guys, you have... God, you got off, he scared the hell out of me! You have the roam... Oh, did that guy just trip over his comrade? That's pretty cool. You have the roam of the island. That's what I was trying to say. And that should actually be all of them in this area. Yeah, cool. I don't think there are any enemies left inside the buildings. It's just lunatics on the grounds now. And actually, we could take the direct route for once, because that gas should be gone. So we need to go back to the library, or the records room, because we need to solve that door that's been left behind forever. Because we needed both the cryptographic sequencer and the line launcher. Did I just crash? Oh, thank God. That felt like it was about to crash. But we need the line launcher and the cryptographic sequencer to solve the riddle in there, and then we have something left behind in the corridor towards the warden's office that we couldn't get into because a vine was on the way. But I want to solve this one first. The records room should be over here? Through this door, I believe. Yeah, records office. Then... Yep, our records showed that a strange transfer request was made in this room. Should be right there. Cool. Alright, let's break out the cryptographic sequencer.
Are you up to the challenge?
I don't know, it keeps flickering. There we go. So that blows that out, but you need the line launcher to get over these floor panels because they're electrified. So this is a two-part riddle. Now that you're on this side, you can turn them off from this one right here. And you don't have to worry about this anymore. Not that you're going to be coming back in here, but at least it makes getting out of here easier. Come on. There we go. Alright, now, strange transfer request. Notice that strange was capitalized. And I believe it's right there. The strange files. Let's get a zoom in. And we'll back up a little bit more. Take it back. And we get the character bio for Professor Hugo Strange. First gaining fame as a psychiatrist who declared that he'd fully analyzed the Dark Knight from afar, Professor Hugo Strange lent credence to his own claims by deducing Batman's true identity as Bruce Wayne. However, his interest in the Batman turned into a deranged obsession, and he's used his medical expertise to hatch a series of bizarre plots based around genetics and mind control in order to defeat the Batman and possibly take his place. Strange's fragile mental state has left him with intermittent knowledge of Batman's true identity, a fact that hangs over Bruce Wayne's head. For if Strange ever snaps completely, Batman's greatest secret might be revealed. Dude, that upper body and that head freaks me out. Real name, Professor Hugo Strange, occupation psychiatrist, base of operations Gotham City, eyes gray, hair none, height 5 feet 10 inches, weight 160 pounds, first appearance Detective Comics number 36, February 1940. Trained to physical perfection, brilliant psychological analyst, extensive knowledge of genetics, obsessed with Batman and Batman's secret identity, plagued by schizophrenic episodes that leave him confused and dangerous. You're gonna see a lot more of Strange before the Arkham series is over, trust me. Okay, so now we've got one in this hallway that we passed. It probably is a false wall or something. Yeah, it's in the next room. And so let's take a look around. It might be a vent. There it is. Weak wall. Batclaw, go! I am going to try not to let these episodes get longer than about 25 minutes. Hey, here's the final interview tape.
Today I have another interview with Crane. I cannot say I am looking forward to it. I've been feeling anxious. I don't like to admit it, but I think he's getting to me.
How are you today?
I keep telling you, this is my session.
It was your session, Doctor, but not anymore.
Are you okay, Doc? I think... Yes,
Oh, he's fine. Just questioning his grip on reality. You should be doing the same any second.
Mom? Is that you? Wait, what are you doing? Get off of me. Help! I need help here! I can't breathe!
Like I said, you're all part of my experiment now.
Oh, snap. So, apparently he got some of his fear gas in the room. Wonder how he did that. That's not the button I want. Yeah, okay. I have a feeling that this last secret will tell us because it's probably an interview tape. That freeze. Why do you keep freezing on this transition? What are you doing, game? You're freezing on every time I go in a door. What the hell? Alright. I'm guessing this is another false wall. Yes. Right there. I've never seen it freeze this often, especially coming back in here. It's very weird. Oh no, Riddler trophy. That means we have... Oh, okay, we weren't quite done. We got one in the entrance hallway, or one over there, and one back in the library. Okay, so we have two more. So we might just clean out this area, especially if we're gonna listen to a tape, and then we might do the rest in another episode, or do some of the rest in another episode, and then do any remaining in the episode where I fight Joker. That might be the plan here. I kind of really did want to do all of the cleanup and go around Batman in a single episode, and I am about to leave, so I'm going the wrong way. But as long as the Poison Ivy episode got, it was entirely unintentional to make a 40-minute long episode, and I don't like doing that. So I'm going to try to keep these between 25 and 30 minutes if I can. I feel like for this Let's Play, that's been the sweet spot. And I would like to stick to that. Alright, it was... Alright, there's a false wall right up... Oh no, there's a grate. But yeah, it's right there. And then I think the last one is behind a cryptographic door. Looks like Joker's been here. And Riddler is getting more and more deranged, because we're really good at hunting down his secrets, turns out. Okay. Alright, where was it in here? This room? Yep, this would be the room. There we go. And this is our last interview tape. I can already see it.
Asylum interview 1. My experiment is underway. Working alone, I have created my ultimate fear gas. Its potency, a revelation. They're all over me! Please, Daddy. Don't do it! Give away. I have pumped enough gas into the medical center to break 100 minds. It should only be a matter of time before... What?
Give it up. Now!
How are you still standing? How come it's not affecting you?
Who says it's not?
I knew it. What was it like? What have you seen?
Officer Cash, get this formula to the air conditioning system, now! You failed, Crane. Again. I've been working with Dr. Kellogg in creating an antidote to the toxins in your cologne. He fooled you, Crane. How does that make you feel? Threatened? Humiliated? Scared?
I love that moment. That is such a badass Batman moment. This really is kind of a cool island, and it has a lot of nice architecture. I actually really like the Gothic style of Gotham quite a bit. But unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be able to renovate all this damage. They might have been able to renovate before Ivy's plants went out of control, but this kind of damage, I think this place is done. What do you guys think? But anyway, speaking of done, we're gonna call it an episode here. Next time, we're gonna hunt down even more of the secrets that we've left behind. And slowly build up our... Can I get around here? Our strategy for the Joker. So I'll see you then. Thanks for coming out and joining me today. As always, I'm much appreciated. If you guys enjoyed what you saw today, leave me that thumbs up because it helps the channel out and makes me feel really good about those videos. It makes me think I did a good job. That guy's super creepy. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw today, leave me a subscribe because you get uploaded or you get notified when I upload, which should be once or twice every weekday. And if you have any hints, tips, or tricks, or you just want to talk about Batman, leave me a comment down below. Once again, thanks for coming out and watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Later.